In today's video, we're going to be ranking every single Scarlet and Violet and Sword and Shield booster box by their price potential in 3 years. We have the $500 tier at the lowest. I think all of these will be around minimum that $500 mark in 3 years, and then all the way up to $5,000. Starting off with Sword and Shield base, this is the oldest booster box on this list, and because of its age and potential nostalgia, I'm going to put this in the $1,000 tier. Now, this isn't the best set in the world. It has some good cards like the Snorlax and the Marnie, but just because of age alone, I'm going to put it in the $1,000 tier. Next is Rebel Clash, and I'm also going to put Rebel Clash in the $1,000 tier just purely due to age and scarcity. Rebel Clash was one of those sets that never really got a reprint, so because of that, I'm going to be putting it in the $1,000 tier. Next up is Darkness Ablaze, and this is going in the $500 tier. Now, this is probably one of the worst sets, if not the worst set in this entire tier list, and I believe that this definitely is not going to see too much growth in the future. It's going to see growth because of its age, but I don't think it's going to even grow as fast as Sword and Shield base and even Rebel Clash. Next up is Vivid Voltage. I'm also putting Vivid Voltage in the $1,000 tier. This is purely due to age as well as Vivid Voltage does have the Pikachu and the Rayquaza, right? Definitely some really good chase cards in this set. Next is Battle Styles, and I'm putting Battle Styles at the very top of the $1,000 tier. I think this is the best out of all of the middle of the tier sets in Sword and Shield. It was the first alternate art set in Sword and Shield, so that definitely carries some weight. Next is Chilling Reign. I'm definitely putting Chilling Reign in the $1,500 tier. I'm even tempted to put it in the $2,000 tier. I think it'll fall just shy of $2,000. I think this is kind of in that $1,700, $1,800 range in 3 years, and I really believe in Chilling Reign, guys. I think this is one of the most underrated sets currently. Its total set value is, I believe, third, right behind Evolving Skies and Fusion Strike. You have some amazing chase cards. You have 3 cards all over $100, right? One in the Blaziken. I think this is one of the best cards in Sword and Shield, and then the Moltres and the Snorlax are very awesome as well. And then you just have a ton of depth in Chilling Reign. I've made many videos on Chilling Reign in the past, so you guys already know that this is one of my top picks for Sword and Shield. I think it's very underrated. I don't think it's talked about enough, and I think this will do very well in the future. So Chilling Reign, it's going to be in the top of the $1,500 tier. Next is Evolving Skies. Some of you might have been waiting for this, but this is going straight into the $5,000 tier, guys. Evolving Skies, there's really no question about it. This is the best booster box set that has come out in both Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet. This is by far and away the best set, and I think the price is really going to reflect that. Right now, it's currently sitting at about $2,400, $2,500 per booster box, and this is as of January 2026. I think in January of 2029, this will easily be a $5,000 plus booster box. I wouldn't be surprised if this is close to $10,000, right? Close to the price of something like Team Up currently. This is a very conservative estimate for $5,000, and I think it's going to easily crush that and do better than people expect. Evolving Skies is just that good of a set, guys. Next is Fusion Strike, and Fusion Strike is easily $2,000 plus. I think it's probably going to be closer to $3,000, honestly, but I can definitely see it being, in that low $2,000 range as well. Fusion Strike is a really great set with some really great top-end chase cards. It's a little bit top-heavy, right, with the Gengar and the Espeon and the Mew, but then after that, it kind of falls off, after the second or third row. But overall, it doesn't really matter. If a set has some really top chase cards that are highly, highly desirable, it's going to do well. Next up is Brilliant Stars, and I'm also putting Brilliant Stars in the $2,000 tier. I think Brilliant Stars is still underrated. It's honestly pretty crazy how low of a value it has, right? The cards in the set are still underpriced in my opinion. You have the Charizard at $232. Then next best card is the Umbreon at only $68. This set just has so many popular Pokemon. I just don't see it not doing well in the future. And I think it's very undervalued currently at only $500 a booster box. Next up is Astral Radiance, and I'm putting Astral Radiance also in the $1,500 tier, but probably towards the end of the tier. I don't think this is as good as Chilling Reign. Astral Radiance is a really good set, don't get me wrong. It has the Misty, right? You have the Garchomp, but I just think it's not as desirable as a lot of the other top Sword and Shield sets like Lost Origin, like Fusion Strike, like Brilliant Stars. I think those are much more desirable than Astral Radiance. Right? The Machamp and the Starmie are cool, and the Garchomp's pretty cool, but overall, there's not too much heavy hitters to really carry Astral Radiance above this tier. But one set that does have a lot of heavy hitters is a Lost Origin. I think this is easily $2,000. I can see it still being above Brilliant Stars. Lost Origin is just such a great set. I have a little bit of bias because Lost Origin to this date is one of my best investments that I've made in Pokemon. But overall, this is a great timeless set. I think will age extremely well, not only because of the Giratina and Aerodactyl, but also because of the trainer gallery. Lost Origin has one of the best trainer galleries in all of Sword and Shield with the 3 Pikachus, right? The VMAX, the Pikachu V, and also the regular Pikachu. But then you have a Gengar, you have a Charizard, you have a Mew, you have a Rainbow Giratina, you have a Rotom, right? You have more and more amazing cards. You even have a Snorlax. I totally forgot about this card. There's so many good cards in Lost Origin, so many popular Pokemon. This set will do amazing in the future. I can see it honestly even catching up to Fusion Strike, but I'm gonna put it below Fusion Strike for now because I think Fusion Strike has a little bit of an edge over Lost Origin in the Gengar. Next up is Silver Tempest, one of the other great sets of Sword and Shield, and putting it in the $1,500 tier right below Chilling Reign. This is going to be between $1,500 and $2,000 in 3 years, in my opinion. The Lugia is just too good. The Rayquaza is too good. This is a pretty deep set with some really good top-end chase cards. Now we get into the Scarlet and Violet era, and most of these Scarlet and Violet sets, if not all, will already be out of print. So you're going to see a pretty major price hike for a lot of these sets. And first is Sword and Shield base. I'm going to be putting Sword and Shield base in the $500 tier. I don't think it's going to quite hit $1,000, but I think it's going to be close, right? It's going to be maybe, $600, $700. It's definitely going to be a pretty desirable box. And then we go to Paldea Evolved. Now, Paldea Evolved, I think is going to hit $1,500. Now, this is one of the better sets of the Scarlet and Violet era. And because a lot of these Sword and Shield boxes have had more time to grow, that's why I have them a little bit higher. If Paldea Evolved was 7 years old, like some of these Sword and Shield sets would be, then I would put it probably in the $2,000 tier. But only, 3 years from now, I think $1,500 is pretty reasonable for Paldea Evolved. Next is Obsidian Flames, and in 3 years, I think Obsidian Flames is also going to be stuck with Sword and Shield base in the $500 tier. Next is Paradox Rift, and I'm actually putting Paradox Rift in the $1,000 tier. I think this is a very underrated set. It's going out of print in April of this year, so just in a couple of months. And I think the Groudon and a lot of the other illustration rares and special illustration rares are going to carry this set a lot in the future. And I think people are going to regret not picking up Paradox Rift right now. Same thing with Temporal Forces. I can see this being at the bottom of the $1,000 tier. This is a really great set, guys. I think it has a lot of potential, and I think it still has a lot of room to grow. Next up is Twilight Masquerade, and this is a really hard set to rank, but I'm honestly going to be putting it at the very top of the $1,000 tier. I think it's just that good of a set, and I think it's going to grow a lot in the future. I can definitely see this hitting even a lot higher, but for right now, I'm putting it at $1,000 in 3 years. I think in 5 years, it'll easily be $1,500, but in 3 years, $1,000 I think is pretty fair. And then for Stellar Crown, I'm going to be putting this in the $500 tier, guys. This set just doesn't have enough going for it. Let's take a look at the set list for Stellar Crown. You guys can see, right, it's really carried by 2 cards in the Squirtle and the Bulbasaur. There's just not much else going for Stellar Crown, and because of that, because of the lack of depth, I have to put it right here at $500. But then we go to Surging Sparks, a set that does not lack depth and also has some very, very desirable top-end chase cards. This is going at the very top of the $1,000 tier. I think this is slightly better than Twilight Masquerade, and I think that with enough time, this can definitely go to $1,500 and even $2,000 plus. But in 3 years, so in 2029, I think $1,000 is very, very fair for this set. That is almost a 4x return from today's price, which is really good in 3 years, right? What other investment can you get a 4x return in 3 years? Not too many other ones. Next up is Journey Together, and while I do like Journey Together as a set, I think it's actually pretty underrated. I have to put it in the $500 tier because I don't think it's going to have enough time to grow to the heights of a lot of these other sets. And it has a box topper, right? It has some pretty good top-end chase cards like the Lily's Clefairy and some other cards as well. But overall, it's lacking depth, right? It's similar to Stellar Crown in the fact that there's only a couple of cards that are highly desirable, and then after that, it kind of falls off a cliff. So for that reason, I have to put it pretty low. Next up is Destined Rivals, though. This is a set that is not going to be very low. It's actually going to be very, very high, and I'm putting it above Fusion Strike in the $2,000 tier. Now, that might sound crazy to a lot of you guys. Now, I think in 3 years, in 2029, it's going to be out of print. It'll probably be out of print for, maybe a little bit over a year, and I think Destined Rivals is going to do amazing and jump up extremely fast, similar to Evolving Skies. If you guys remember, Evolving Skies went from about $400 all the way to $2,000 in less than a year. I think that same thing is going to happen to Destined Rivals right when it hits that out of print window. People are going to be jumping in on this set, people that didn't get in right now when I think it's still a pretty decent price, and they're going to regret not picking up Destined Rivals for $300, $400, and they're going to be buying it instead for $2,000. I think that's going to happen, guys. Don't quote me on it, but I have a really strong feeling that Destined Rivals is going to follow in the footsteps of Evolving Skies. Destined Rivals is the best booster box set of Scarlet and Violet, and you always want to pick up the best booster box set of an era. Think of Team Up, think of Evolving Skies, and Destined Rivals is next up on that list. Now finally, we have the Mega Evolution booster boxes, and both of these I think are going to be out of print in 3 years in 2029. So both of these will see a pretty big spike in price, but I don't think they're both going to quite hit $1,000 or $1,500. I think both of these are going to be in the $500 to $1,000 range, but I think they're going to be towards the top of that range because I think they are better sets than a lot of these other ones that you see below it. I think the Charizard and Phantasmal Flames is amazing, probably one of the best Charizards we've ever gotten. I think that's going to really carry the set. And then for Mega Evolution base set, has a lot of depth, right? It has the Lucario and the Gardevoir. I think that's going to do amazing as well. So I think this is a pretty fair ranking. Let me know what you guys think about this ranking. As you can see, there's a lot of notable sets missing, like Prismatic, because those are special sets. If you guys want to see a full investment guide on Prismatic Evolutions, then click on the video on your screen right here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next one.